Well, thanks to both of you to be available for me this afternoon. Having watched the movie Disenchanted, I was really happy to be able to speak with both of you because of all of the work you've been doing for the movie as well. And I'd like to know a bit more about what you did and how you felt about your work.
Yeah, sure.
How do you want to start?
Oh, you want me to start?
Yeah,
sure.
I was the creative director for the show, and I did the storyboarding, part of the storyboarding. I supervised it, and supervised and directed some of the animators. So all the animation I was supervising. I get confused between supervision and direction because I do both. And
Well, can you tell me what's the difference between both of them?
Yeah, so direction has more creative decision making in terms of if you're part of the writing process and you're able to change things and whatever. Where supervision is you're supervising a team and you're implementing another director's vision into the team. So there's a bit of a crossover, but when it comes to the big studios, they have union rules and that sort of thing, and then it becomes a pay thing and all this, so it gets complicated. So that's why I'm creative director on this, because I did quite a few things in supervision, but it honestly, it's not clear to me.
And can you tell me what was the challenge that you had for Disenchanted? Because, well, I know that I've been following you for a while, especially with your website and all, and I know that you've been working a lot with mostly 2D animations, like Bob's Burger or Looney Tunes Big Leagues and stuff like that. What was the challenge for Disenchanted?
You want to run with that, Justine?
Oh, yeah, but first maybe I can introduce myself real quick. So yeah, as you know, hi Patrick. I'm Justine. I was an artist on Disenchanted. I was first of all on the design team. So I worked as a designer mostly on the female characters. So Edina's character, and also our main princess Morgan. And then also after that, I moved on to animation, so 2D animation on the team. And so the question was regarding the challenges.
Yeah, exactly. What were the challenges that you were having for the movie, knowing that there wasn't much of 2D and stuff like that? So what were the greatest challenges?
Well, there were many. One of the biggest one was that because the first movie, Enchanted, had all the animation parts done by James Baxter and his crew at his studio, and he's like one of the genius of the industry. Like James Baxter is one of the greatest talent in animation. So there was the challenge of following in his footsteps first of all, and try to follow with the quality of his work. And then I guess one of the biggest challenge also was that we had how can I say, like very strict artistic limits to what we could do, because we had to work with real life actors. We had to work with a lot of designs that had already been implemented in terms of like the live action designs. And we had to translate this into animation in a way that would work for us, but that would also, give like, what's the word, to
be connected
embody.
Yeah. Be connected to the old, the Enchanted version.
Yeah, so it was a lot of back and forth to try to find something that would fit the live action and then our universe that we were building.
Okay.
Yeah, so the challenge was James Baxter had set the table and had done great work, but in our show, our Adam Shankman, the director, wanted the animation to be more integrated. So because we were going back and forth between the animated world and the live action world. And he wanted us to try it to adjust the designs and the performances so that there wasn't such a big disconnect when we went back and forth. And for example, in Enchanted, the animation was very much pantomime. It was very cartoony. It had a lot of the typical animation kinds of tropes that we would use, and the way we would organize our performances. Whereas in Disenchanted, it was written like it was live action. And so the subtlety of the expressions and the emotions, we had to carry those in a different way than what they had done in Enchanted, and just in order for things to merge between the two. So that was a challenge trying to work that out, because basically it sort of moved us away from Enchanted and more towards like the sensibilities of Pocahontas, for example.
Okay.
So, you know, we had that slight adjustment to make while still remaining true to Enchanted.
Okay, great. And can you tell me for let's say for normal people, what does it take to be able to work in a company like yours, doing animated movies and working in animations like that? I know, like, for example, Justine, you're living in Montreal. So what brought you to this world of being working for Disney in animations?
Oh, it's a love of drawing, and it really goes through a love of observing the world around you, because this is how you get to a sense of, you know, the finer things, like the subtleties in life. And this is what, when you do great storytelling, like we strive to do at Tonic, you have to really to be able to channel those subtleties, you know, in the you know, in how people behave and what things look like, and what, like, you know, how people are shaped when you do character design. So you have to be really curious about those things, and you just follow through with the passion. And it's a lot of work and diligence. You know, it's like a monk's work. You stay at your workstation all day and you draw patiently. So you have to be very curious and patient, and you have to follow that drive.
Oh, great. And well, I wouldn't really want to ask this question, but I really feel that I need to do it. Did the pandemic actually bring any inconvenience to your work, to both of you, about the way you work usually for when you do movies and stuff like that? Did it affect your work or your environment around you?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, go ahead, Justine.
Well, I'm a very, you know, it's a very solitary work, but I love being in a social environment. It motivates me a lot to, you know, have, you know, for team building and have that experience of, because you can't do an animated film alone. It's so much work. So to have the vision of like having everybody working together and then being able to, you know, talk about their issues and try to figure out solutions together, it's really helpful. And when you're working in a pandemic through a computer, you lose a lot of that, you know, human warmth of like just being able to crack a joke, you know, and then be there physically to help out, because drawing is very physical in the end, even though we do it on a computer. So you lose a lot of that. But I personally went back to the studio as soon as I could. So yeah.
Okay.
In some ways, it made my life easier because I was able to access, because I got artists in 12 different time zones, right, that I'm constantly supervising. So I wake up in the morning, the first thing I do is check, you know, our tracking system and see who's uploaded what, if they got any questions. And then the last thing I do at the end of the day is check everything. So that way I'm able to span as much of the time zones as possible. So that's helpful. But there is, you miss some of that camaraderie and being able to sit down and talk with somebody and work with them. But I found we've been able to adapt to the technology so that we can access people and get to them right away. And, you know, it saves on commute time and all kinds of things like that. So it did present some challenges for some of the situations we had, but it was also helpful in other situations.
Okay. And maybe, I don't know how long we have left, but can you tell me what was your greatest moment for Disenchanted?
Mine was delivering it.
That's a good point.
No, but I worked on the opening sequence with the big long multiplane move, so that was my sequence, and I'm really happy with how that turned out. It's a little bit fast because they had to cut it down and speed it up so that they could get to the live action sooner. So that sort of made the camera move faster than I would have liked, but it's really a beautiful sequence. If you can slow it down while you're going through it, there's a lot there to enjoy.
Oh, great. So you mean when you're talking about the opening, it's when the squirrel are talking with the
No, it's it's the very first thing when we follow this bird past the Disney castle.
Oh, okay.
And then it goes down into the city and then the towns and then the forest to find baby Giselle.
Okay.
Yeah.
I would give the same answer because I think that sequence is beautiful. Like Todd and the team did such a great work on it, and it's really like makes you want to dream about the universe a lot. And I was lucky enough to work in the later bit of the sequence when we see all the animals gathering around, so around the baby in her basket. So I got to animate that, so that was a lot of work, but very rewarding in the end.
Oh, great. And maybe one last question for both of you. What would be your, greatest either Disney or any other kind of animated movie that you would love absolutely to do as either a 2D animation or something like that? What would be the greatest movie you would like to be producing?
From that's already in the library, the Disney library?
Well, it can be one that's already in the Disney library, or a movie that hasn't been done, but that you wish you would be able to do.
You mean like, say, like Treasure Island?
Yeah, exactly. It could be like Treasure Island, or it could be, I don't know, a sequel to Treasure Island or something like that. Is there any movie that you would like to be able to produce or to work on in the future?
What do you think, Justine?
That is such a tricky question. my brain is going 100 miles an hour. I'm trying to go through all the catalog and think really hard. My answer would be if there's anything like that includes a lot, because they tend to go a lot for like folk tale stories, and I love that. So if I were to work on anything that includes like a lot of like, creatures and nature and folk tales and mythical stuff, I would love that. I liked Frozen for the, all the Nordic architecture and landscape. So I would go for maybe something like that.
Oh, that's great.
Yeah, I mean, one of my favorites is Jungle Book, so I would love to do something else along those lines, that being able to bring animal characters to life in such an interesting way.
Indeed. Well, maybe even, I don't know, maybe northern jungle, something like that.
A northern Jungle Book.
Yeah, that would be great.
Indeed. Well, thanks a lot to you two. I was really, really excited to be able to meet both of you. And Justine, I just really like to say that it might sound a little idiotic, but I'm really, really happy to see people from here in Quebec's province, being able to work with Mr. Shaffer and work for Disney, and showing that we're having a lot of talents here in Quebec, and that we're not all in a silly little bubble. So really, really happy about that. And Mr. Shaffer, I'll never say it as much as I would, but I really love your job. I really enjoy what you're doing, and I've always loved the way that you work on your different projects that you're having.